Alrighty then. Here we go. We got a SCP by Sir Pudding. This is the first SCP from this author that we get to read. Created in November, 1st of November 2015. A lot of work of his is in 2015, only one in 2017. Cool. So there's also some supplements, group of interest, blah 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 blah, other stuff that he has done later. Like there's a 2018 Tales, but Sir Pudding, cool image, cool picture. I mean, my guy, you look baller. Let me show what I'm looking at. Look at this. He looks baller. Nice. Awesome. You wrote, if you can read this. Alright. Oh boy. Okay, what is this? Where's Howard when you need him? So okay, let's just try to understand how this works. Because there's like so many red. Okay. SCP-211, looks like there's like a Tales series, 4.63% CD H. So this seems to be a hard drive. Security warning: the SCP-2111 registry and all associated files are components of the Foundation Memetic security systems. These files contain lethal cognitive hazards and memes and should not be accessed by unauthorized personnel. Access to SCP-2111 registry in the database is restricted to Memetics Department use only. Contact your HMCL supervisor for further information. 4.63%. That is that supposed to be LS to LA? This seems to be all like files. RWX2R meme 2/211 18 kilobytes. July 14. So do I click on this or no? I definitely. Oh hey, okay, here we go. So it looks like clicking on one opens them up here like this. Okay, here he says, this file and associated documents are the Memetic Department eyes only. If you can read this, you have undergone Phase 3 counter-memetic training. If you're not authorized to view this and are able to, you have been infected with a memetic kill agent with an average lethal onset of 37 minutes. Fuck! To report to your Riser supervisor immediately. So up to class safe. Doesn't sound safe to me. I'm gonna die in 37 minutes. Special containment procedures. Access to the SCP-2111 data is restricted to personnel with 3/211/Red Talisman clearance with a current Phase 3 counter-memetic battery certification. Data is to be only accessed or viewed through the Red Talisman interface. Unauthorized personnel who access the files are to be detained, treated for exposure to lethal cognitive hazards and memetic content, and either anesthetized or terminated at the discretion of Riser. This file is to be protected with a snark hunt disinterest/disgust memetic agents in addition to standard network security measures. Descriptions: SCP-2111 is an algorithm capable of generating an infinite number of novel lethal cognitive hazards. The algorithm was derived by the Foundation from an analysis of multiple unrelated cognitive hazardous anomalies and adapted for the creation and maintenance of lethal cognitive weapons used for information and physical security, as well as memetic packages for behavior modification vectors. Red Talisman is the software-based tool and deploys raw material generated by SCP-2111 into weaponized media. Red Talisman can generate direct visual or auditory cognitive hazards as well as insert hazardous material into memetic carriers. SCP-2111 functions by anomalous means, currently theorized to have access to forms of mathematics that create destructive processing loops when translated to neurological systems. If I click on this again, does it just open up the same thing? Yeah, okay. So that's Red Talisman, but now we have the written tongue. Oh my god, there's so much. This file and all associated documents are for the anti-memetics division as only if you're able to remember reading this. So not if you're able to read this time remember reading this. You have received M to Y conditioning and are currently undergoing class W nestic treatment. If you're not authorized to view this and are able to, you have been infected with an anti-memetic remote amnestic agent. This one is Euclid this time, not safe. Special containment procedures. Belief in SCP-2111 as an algorithm controlled by the Foundation is to be maintained within the memetics department, and its assumed role as a memetic department administrative asset is to be maintained within the Foundation as a whole. Monitoring software has been put in place to ensure that SCP-2111 activity does not occur outside of this directory. The size of this directory is to be monitored and significant changes are to be reported to the division chief. -1 instances are to be documented and then removed by division personnel embedded in facilities and maintenance whenever discovered. This file is to be protected by Type 3 inline invisibility anti-meme in addition to standard network security measures. SCP-2111 is a phenomenon in which a directory in the Foundation database spontaneously generates files containing both lethal cognitive hazards and anti-memetic content. These files are often of novel types and generate at the average rate of 80 kilobytes per month. Is this a Foundation-created anomaly? Occasionally and unpredictably, some of these files will be spontaneously deleted. Written Tongue is a software-based tool that skims these files to raw materials for Foundation use, sanitizes it for security threats, and then feeds it as a raw data to the memetics department Red Houseman software. So is this like how they basically make sure that all the logs are safe to read? The first SCP-2111 file appeared on the 4th, 21st, 1981. It was heavily encrypted, protected by a Type 4 anti-memetic trigger, and appeared to originate from within the Foundation. Within 3 hours before division personnel could decrypt it, it was edited and replaced with a file containing lethal cognitive hazards and anti-memetic content. I assume it's the security system against people who want to read the logs. It sounds like it, at least. -1 is a phenomenon where graffiti appears spontaneously in the Foundation's facility. This graffiti is painted in non-anomalous materials or sources from the nearby environment. -1 instances are constructed as Type 4 anti-memetic triggers and are imperceptible except via a combination of M to Y conditions and amnestics. Type 4 anti-memes cause single-target short-term anterograde amnesia, resulting in an inability to consciously perceive the subject. Makes sense. This graffiti typically is one of the two types. 73% contains an exhortation to read this directory, example, read SCP-2111, while the remainder contains a variable message, characteristics, example, follow, see Appendix A for the full list. Okay. Date, 6/23rd, 1981, Site 13 cafeteria, message, can anybody even read this? Medium chocolate pudding. 2nd, 14th, 1984. Researcher Amos Sanchez, office at area 152 following his suicide. Forget us, blood and brain 5th, 8th, 1989. The office of 058 at site 200. Let me go. Permanent marker. Contained a type 9 anti-memetic trigger capable of inflicting severe retrograde amnesia. 8th, 17th, 1993. Site 167 Anti-Memetics Division Headquarters Command Center. Why can't you forget about me? Printer ink. Contained a Brix nodule visual cognitive hazard and resulted in the deaths of 7 division personnel. 3rd, 10th, 1994. Site 105 Council Chamber. Mission accomplished. Omega Zulu. Erasable marker on whiteboard. 2nd, 11th, 2003. Site 41 Lab S041 B08053. I'm not strong enough, he forgets me. Lead glass particles presumed to originate from a CRT display, and here he says C SCP-47 39, an incident report colors ID, which I assume is just going to leave me. Yeah. This seems like this seems to be later down the line. And then we have the first 29, 2015. Chief Operations Office Site 167, Anti-Memetics Division Headquarters. Why has 058 stopped taking his medicine? Pencil, see incident report. Ocean mineral. Yeah, this seems to be connected, so we should read this now. Alright, let's read. Can I smoke? This time the receptionist narrows her eyes at Marion. No, she says. No, you can't smoke anywhere on site 200. Just because it's an administration building doesn't mean we don't have lungs or labor law. Marion notices the exasperation on the young woman's face. I've asked you that before, haven't I? Twice in the last quarter hour, the receptionist says. You must really need to smoke. She's genuinely puzzled at the repeated question, and she's doing a bad job of concealing her puzzlement. You think this is like Memento, don't you? Marion offers charitably. You think I have no long-term memory, and if I stay in one place for too long, I forget why I'm there. The receptionist is only just old enough to remember that film. I guess? Marion smiles sympathetically and shakes her head. Nothing so simple. Minutes pass. She toys obsessively with her lighter. She is turning 50 this year and slowly graying well on her way out of the petite towards little old lady. In her bag, her phone beeps because it's time for a pill. But she tells it to remind her later. There's a slight tremble in her fingers, but that's not age-based infirmity. That's just ordinary nerves. She's nervous because she's here to meet an 05, and 05s are scary. 05s never want to see you for a small thing. It's the end of the world or nothing. Finally, 40 minutes late, the door to the inner office opens. 4 or 5 high-ranked foundationers spill out, carrying laptops or briefcases. As a group, they head straight past reception and out to the cars which are waiting. Marion recognizes few of the faces, the Site 19 site director, the head recruiter for Western Europe. None of them glance into her direction. Once they're gone, 058's assistant pokes his head around the door. He's 20-something, improbably youthful, like a teenager stuffed into one of his dad's business shirts. His haircut is barely regulation. In one hand, he holds a tablet computer showing his boss' day planner. It's packed. The man evidently does not sleep. Marion, you can come through now. The office door closes behind them with an unusually heavy mechanical clunk, as if the whole thing is part of a machine built into the office walls. While Marion takes the indicated chair and sets her back down, the assistant turns and does some confusing additional things to the door, causing to make several further strange noises. All 5s have non-trivial privacy and security requirements. The office is spacious, but somehow contrives to be dark despite... The office is spacious, but somehow contrives to be dark despite 2 big corners of windows and broad daylight outside. The walls are all bookshelves and dark wood paneling, perfectly stylish, but a style from the 90s, a little worn and not yet old enough to be fashionable again. As a fellow behind the desk, well, an 05 never looks like you imagine. Marion takes a deep breath. So what's the topic? All I got was the meeting invitation, no agenda or subject. I mean, an 05 says jump, you jump, but to her right, she knows that her assistant, without saying anything or making any undue noise, has set his tablet down on the table, produced a gun and aimed it at her head. Marion stops talking. She sits still in her chair for a little while, absorbing the change of pace, letting her heart rate rise to a hummingbird and then start to flatten again. Okay, she hazards. She licks her lips and grips the armrest, otherwise staying perfectly still, waiting for another prompt. The assistant's face is totally neutral now, like this is just how meetings go. Maybe it is for people up here. Who are you? 058 asks her. Marion blinks. What? Oh, God. Let me rephrase, 058 says. Marion Wheeler, 49, with loving husband and 2 boys in tow, likes camping, hiking and ornithology, boring mother with perfect airtight background and financials as far back as we can examine, And you got full foundation credentials, which we never issued, including access to a list of installations in rooms which some of these locations don't exist or were torn down decades ago. At least one hasn't been built yet you've got the front door key to it. That's before we get to your SCP access control list, which you can only term as egregious. So you're a spy and your objectives are misaligned with ours, and Clay wanted to cut Sh-3 loose on you, but I was able to bring him around. I talked him into a face-to-face. I thought there was a slim chance that if we locked you in a bomb-proof room and asked politely, you have the good sense to spare yourself the rest. Mary has long since stopped listening. You dollard, she says now. She can finally speak. I'm your chief of anti-memetics. We don't have an anti-memetics division, Clay says. Yes, you do. We do. 058 says, we have a memetics division, a telecontainment division, fire services, Ops A, Ops B, personnel, B personnel, and 2,000 other. We don't have an anti-memetics division. Do we have an irony division, Mary asks. She hesitates, hopefully. No? Alright. Well, try this. Why do you think the anti-memetics division will show up in the listing? This is just a cover story, Clay says to 058, not taking his eyes off Marion. It's a good one, but she's had it worked out in advance. Clay, lose the peace, says the 05. Grudgingly, Clay does so. Marion relaxes fractionally. There are SCPs with dangerous memetic properties, she says. There are contagious concepts which require containment just like any physical threat. They get inside your head and ride your mind to reach other minds. Right? Right, 058 says. You could name a score of SCPs fitting this description without even thinking. Yeah, same. There are SCPs with antimemetic properties, Marion goes on. There are ideas which cannot be spread. There are entities and phenomena which harvest and consume information, particularly information about themselves. You take a Polaroid photo of one, it will never develop. You write a description down with a pen on paper and hand it to someone. But what you've written turns out to be hieroglyphs and nobody can understand them, not even you. You can look directly at one and it won't even be invisible, but you still perceive nothing there. Dreams you can't hold on to and secrets you can never share, and lies and living conspiracies. It's a conceptual subculture or ideas consuming other ideas and, sometimes, segments of reality. Sometimes, people. Which makes them a threat. That's all there is to it, really. Anti-memes are dangerous, and we don't understand them. Therefore, they are part of the problem. Hence my division. We can do the sideways thinking that's needed to combat something which can literally eat your combat training. 058 stares back at her for a long moment. Clay fidgets, disliking and distrusting the story, but the 05 seems more open to the concept. Name one. He says, name an anti-memetic SCP. SB-055, Marion says promptly. There is no SB-055, retorts. There is. It's... I'm pretty sure I know which one it's talking about. It's the one that nobody remembers, right? Yeah, it is unknown. That's the funny thing about it, is that it's unknown. Nobody thinks it's real. So that's a good one to use for this story. I like that. Again, yes, there is, Marion says. There isn't, Clay asserts. SB numbers aren't assigned sequentially. There are gaps. That number hasn't been assigned. It's not superstitious. We have enough to be concerned about without arbitrary numerical mysticism. We have SB 666 and SB 013, but there's no 031. Wait, 031, pardon me. Wait, 013. But there's no 01, and there's no SB 055. Clay 058 says. You should look at this. He turns its monitor to Clay. You can see the file that he just retrieved. Clay bends over and reads it from the top to bottom. Stunned, he scrolls back and reads it all a second time. But the file's still from 2008. 058 says. It's got all the right flags and signatures. It's keyed and coded. It's real. You seen this before? Clay asks him. Never in my life, 058 says. As far as I can remember, anyway. On the other hand, if the content is accurate, both of us have probably seen it dozens of times. Clay glares at Marion. This isn't possible. Marion nearly spits. For Christ's sake, Clay, how long have you been working here? But if this SCP is this powerful, he begins. Yes? Who wrote the file? Yo5 finishes. And for that matter, how was the interview conducted? And who is Bartholomew Hughes? And most importantly, how do you, Mrs. Wheeler, retain knowledge of any of this? But Hughes wrote the file. He's dead, Marion says. What happened to him? You don't want to know. There's a very long pause while both 058 and his assistant react to this. In fact, they pass through a long, discrete sequence of reactions: indignation at the seeming rudeness, confusion at Wheeler's incaution in front of sinister superiors, surprise at the magnitude of the claim, pure disbelief, comprehension, and finally horror. What, 058 asks carefully, would happen if we did know? It would happen to you as well, Marion says levelly. As for the rest of your questions, we managed this that pharmaceutically. We have class A amnestics for people who very badly need to forget things. Of course you do. Who could forget about class A amnestics? Well, in antimemetics we have a different pill for people who need to remember things that would otherwise be impossible to remember. Amnestics, class W, X, Y, and Z. Same Greek root as the word mnemonic. Mnemonic. The M is so mnemonic. So nestics. In her bag, her phone beeps again. With a nod of approval from the 05, Marion reaches into her bag and turns her phone off, acknowledging the prompt this time instead of postponing it. She pulls a blister pack from another pocket and props in a pill out. It's hexagonal and green. She holds it up and is satisfied to see a flicker of recognition on 058's face. They begin to put it back together. So it looks like the reason why she's being like so rude and in their face about it, it's probably she had this conversation before. She probably had this conversation a couple of times. Hey Bang Boo, welcome. I'm reading the second SCP of today. I'm reading one of the side stories for it that explains more about it. It's all about a file that seems to influence how much you remember. It basically like it's trying to make you forget about. I think if I recall correctly, it's trying to make you forget that you read the file. And now we have a side story of like how somebody who works in the Foundation. I mean, do you even know what SCP Foundation is? I should ask that first before I even keep going. But like, as I was saying, Marion probably had this conversation 1,000 times. Not 1,000, but a couple of times now. That's why she's so impatient. Because like, she's like, oh, we had this conversation already. Like, why? Like, I had this a couple of times and I'm being arrogant or rude because I'm past my patience. So Marion says, they are class W nestics. The weakest suitable for continued use. 2 pills per day. Go down to the side pharmacy and ask. The pharmacist will claim they don't stock any such thing. They're misremembering. Tell them to double check. 058 size. And now I think I get it. I see why we're having this conversation at all. Yes, Marion says, popping a second pill out and handing it over to him. It's because you missed a dose. You're supposed to be on these. Oh, that's what it means when it was saying here. Chief of Operation Office Site 167 Antimemetics. Why has 058 stopped taking his medicine? Yeah, so he didn't take his medicine and forgot that there are SCPs that people forget about. Cool. Okay. It's because you missed a dose. You're supposed to be on these. The same goes as me and anybody on my staff. It's the only way we can work. You forgot to take a pill, and you forgot all the information that the pills were helping you retain. You forgot why you were taking them, who gave them to you, where to get them, where to get more. You forgot about me and my entire department. And now I have to bring you up to speed. If I take this, 05 says, I'll remember this whole conversation. We won't have to have this again. Hopefully not. Marion says, Clay pops up. Should I be taking those? Sorry, kiddo, 058 says. Need to know. Maybe when you're in 05 yourself. He swallows the pill. Marion swallows hers too. So what is SB055? 058 asks. SB055 is nothing. Marion says, now relaxing entirely. SB055 is, as described in the file, a powerful information auto-suppressor. As far as experimentation has uncovered, it can only be defined in negative terms. We can only record what it isn't. We know it isn't safe or Euclid. We know it isn't round or square or green or silver. We know it isn't stupid, and we know it isn't alone, but what we do know is that it's weak. It's weak because it's the only antimemetic agent, I'm going to skip the song, in our possession which has a physical entry in the files. We have paper records of the thing, we have containment procedures, it's not safe, which means it's dangerous, or it's contained. 058 blinks. You have procedures? Where? Mine pointed ahead. Then how many other anti-memes are there? How much more dangerous do they get? 10 that I know of, Marion says, statistically probably at least 5 more that I don't know of. This does not count the antimemetic entities freely roaming the halls, not under containment. There are at least 2 in this room with us right now. Don't look. Don't look. I said don't look. It's pointless. 058 does an impressive job of controlling himself, keeping his attention focused on Marion. Clay doesn't fare so well and quickly sweeps the whole room, even checking behind his back, making an ass of himself, essentially. If he finds nothing, he looks baffled. There's an invisible monster which follows me around and likes to eat my memories, Marion explains patiently. SB4987, don't look it up. It's not there. I've learned to manage with it. It's like a demanding pet. I produce tasty memories on purpose so it doesn't eat something important, like my passwords or how to make coffee. And what's the other one? Clay asks. With another nod from 058, Marion goes to her back again. This time she pulls out a gun and shoots Clay twice in the heart. More aghast than in pain, Clay collapses sharply against the bookcase behind him, pulling his head around to face Marion. He manages, how did you... No. Marion stands, aims more carefully and shoots him a 3rd time, this time in the head. Over again, does an impressive job of not reacting. That's Clay's gun, he deadpans. You stole it from him. It's tricky to steal a firearm this heavy from someone without them noticing, Marion explains, unloading it and carefully settling down, but stealing a firearm and stealing the memory of the theft is a little easier. Like I said, a pet. Some pets are dumb enough that they can't be trained. Yes, 058 says, evenly. That much I had guessed, but why? Because you were supposed to be taking Class W amnestics, Marion says. You can't skip a dose of Class W amnestics. I've tried. You can postpone the dose, but you can't forget, unless someone actively prevents you from taking it. There is only one person who could get close enough to you to do that, and that's your assistant. And remember when I asked him how long he'd been working here? He didn't answer, 058 says. I thought you were being rhetorical. He doesn't work here, Marion says. He's an anti-meme. Since when do you have an assistant? You don't have an assistant, Brent. Look at this office. It's got one desk. You got a receptionist outside. He's the one who screens your calls and schedules your meetings. Where does Clayman sit? Where does he fit? Don't blame yourself, you're human. And these things are redaction incarnate. You need to think like a space alien to get around them. I like this story. 058 asks a question in which in another workplace would be absurd. Is he dead? Maybe, Marion says. I can put his corpse in our research queue and we'll see what we can see, and we'll see what we can see when we open him up. There's a duality here, though. They're like parallel universes sharing the same space. It's conceptual versus concrete, figurative versus physical. It's very unusual for things to cross over. I don't know what Clay was, but he had a human body, which instantly makes him weird, even by our standards. As ever, the search for stalemate continues. I will let you know if we get any closer. Any side effects of these pills, 058 asks. Nausea and dramatically increased risk of pancreatic cancer, Marion says, and very bad dreams. I'm going to click on this real quick just to see what happens. Yeah, I'm not going to read the rest. Oh, because like this, yeah, this is from the other one. Which I'm just going to quickly check. If that shows up in 4739. I'm just going to check that real quick. 4739. It does not show up in... Hold on. Nope, it does not show up here. So, now that I know that, I should probably How long is this? Yeah, it's just a long story. It's just, I think it's just a long tale. I think we'll keep it like that. I'll put that in. I'll put that in the subscriber goal stuff. Like, I will read the rest of this story for a certain goal. I would say 450. Let me just open up this again. And here we go. Subs. There we go. Introductory memetics. There we go. That, because like we still had the second SCP and it's been an hour. I have 8 more to read afterwards, so I don't want to spend my whole entire stream reading just 2 SCPs. So let's go on. We have 2 more here, and I want to know if this is in the trenches. This is also another one. Oh wait, this is... What is this? Oh boy. This is confusing as hell. There's a lot of... So is, how much is there in the... I see. Was the dead know by... Was by the same person? In the terms of the dead, yeah. Yeah, that's also, that will be the next one. So, 2 subscriber goals, I would say, within like the same amount of time. That way it's not like too far apart from each other. There we go. Like I said, I would love to read it now, but we still at the second. When will be the next stream? Tomorrow. The next stream will be tomorrow. I would love to read it now, but like, if I read it now, this is gonna take me forever. So let's continue with holy shit. Okay, here we go. This is still the second SCP of the. I have to read 10. New step of who? No, I'm just in Zurich. This file and all associated documents are for Counter Conceptual Division eyes only. Welcome, Nuke. It's been a while. It's been a while. Conceptual Division eyes only. If you remember reading this, you have received Y to M conditioning and are currently undergoing Class W Nestix treatment. If you read this and are not authorized, cognitive memetic kill agents are in place to ensure that you do not live to remember it. Wait, have you never? You've seen more of my streams in Zurich, right? Thanks for the stop, Nuke. Good to be back. Good to be back. Keter, special containment procedures. SCP-2111 is currently uncontained. All personnel undergoing. Okay, I thought you did. I thought you did when Liam and I read some. All personnel undergoing anesthetics treatments are vulnerable. Personnel to be monitored for sudden memory loss in the event of suspected. Were you not there with the shark SCP? I thought you were. Personnel to be monitored for sudden memory loss in the event of suspected attack by SCP-2111. Class B amnestics are to be administered immediately. Mobile Task Force Episode 7 Forget-Me-Nots is to continuously monitor and disrupt civilian development of nestics, not amnestics, just nestics. The Memetics Department Red Talisman program is to be monitored for external influence, and Revenant Theory is to be enacted in the event a threat is detected. Instances of Golf-class glyphs in Foundation facilities are to be documented and removed by Division personnel embedded in facilities and maintained whenever discovered. This file is to be secured with Bravo-class counter-conceptual camouflage in addition to standard network security measures. Description: SCP-2111 is a hostile anti-memetic entity that targets personnel under the effects of long-term amnestic drug treatment. Now it makes sense, yeah, of course. So this, because I had to like guess if it makes you forget stuff. It makes you forget stuff because it's anti-memetic, which means you don't remember it. Yeah, of course. Victims suffer significant long-term retrograde amnesia, losing between 3 months and 21 years of memory. Due to memory loss, no survivors have been able to describe the entity on the attack. Immediate treatment with Class B amnestics have been shown to halt in-progress attacks. The first known victim was Dr. Victoria Taylor, a Foundation researcher with the Counterconceptual Division. Researcher Taylor's memories were regressed to shortly after being recruited by the Counterconceptual Division in 1974. Researcher Taylor's last known work was on an object originally classified as SCP-2111. After publishing the SCP report on the 4th, 21st, 1981, all of her work on the object was corrupted by unknown means and replaced with lethal cognitive hazards and anti-memetic content. Personnel who had read the report in the 3 hours it was available recollect that it described preliminary research into an anti-memetic infovore of a previously unknown type. SCP-2111 attacks affect personnel directly, consistent with known infovorous mechanisms, as well as leaving cognitohazardous and anti-memetic glyphs on wall surfaces near intended victims. These traps are protected by Golf-class counter-conceptual camouflage and are therefore only visible to personnel undergoing amnestic treatment. Footnote says, Golf-class counter-conceptual camouflage disrupts the ability to retain the focal object in short-term memory, resulting in inability to consciously perceive the subject. At least 36 Division personnel have suffered attacks by SCP-2111. The last direct attack attributed to SCP-2111 was on the 3rd, 1st, 1994. While camouflage glyphs are still being detected, they no longer contain any dangerous effects. It is currently unknown if SCP-2111 is still active or if the ongoing Golf-class recreation is the result of unrelated phenomena. 3 months following the incident with researcher Taylor, the Memetic Department claimed the SCP-2111 directory in the database and began mining it for the Red Talisman weaponized cognitohazard program. Covered research by the Counter-Conceptual Division into the relationship between SCP-2111 and the Memetics Department is ongoing. A contingency plan, codenamed Revenant Theory, has been developed in the event that it is determined that the Memetics Department has been compromised by SCP-2111. Revenant Theory will insert a complex memetic agent into the Red Talisman user interface. The Revenant Theory agent is the carrier for a broad-spectrum anti-memetic counter-agent as well as targeted meme complex that enhances organizational loyalty and personal guilt. This will trigger an institutional witch hunt within the Memetics Department, starting with those most likely to have been exposed to any contamination. And last one, actually no, not the last one, there's 2. Ah, my God. Oh no, there's more. There's more! I just want to see where this leads. Oh, this leads back to here. Okay, good. There's only one more. Oof. I was scared for a moment. Alright, let's read this. If you can read this, you are already dead. Message from MTF. That command. Oh my God. You probably got here by reading the nuke. This is the second SCP and I've been already streaming for an hour and 15 minutes. This is gonna be a long one. You probably got here by reading the writing on the walls, but regardless of how you found us, welcome to the most clandestine unit in the Foundation Mobile Task Force Omega Zero. Our Owen. You probably have already noticed that you have access to everything in the database. Nothing is the redacted, anomalous, memetic, and anti-memetic security content it no longer has any effect on you, and you're getting worried about that, you might need to report to Riser. This isn't an error. The veils of the immortal world have merely been lifted from your eyes. I regret to inform you that you have died in the line of duty. Take a minute to let this news actually get through the denial. The first one, by the way, Nuke, is a gingerbread cottage. And I don't mean made out of gingerbread, it's just the style of the house looks like a gingerbread house of a Brazilian family. And if you're American born, Brazilian born, or part of the Wampanoag tribe, there's a high chance that they will really appease to you. I think you want to talk to them, you want to open up your soul to them, because they're so accepting, no matter how and even though they're religious, even if you sinned, they're accepting of you. And then if you sleep, if they invite you to sleep in the second floor and you do so, you get the voice of God told to you, and then you become part of their family. You become the daughter, son, nephew, aunt, uncle, whatever they want you to be. And it's called Safe Haven because it makes you feel safe and protected and cared for. That was the first one. Take a minute to let this news actually get here. Yeah. What are you now is still a matter of debate. Is the music not too loud? I hope. Yeah, no, it's not. The memetics wonks think we are bad around infomorphic entities in the noosphere, whereas the parapsychologists say we are type 6 volitional spiritual apparitions. Whatever we are here and unable to disperse or move on the higher plane of existence, or reach a state of maximum entropy, or whatever we are supposed to do. Here's what we do know. We are able to perceive memetic and anti-memetic threats threats that the living cannot, and sometimes we can do something about them. This is the MTF Omega 0 mission. You can manifest anywhere there's a terminal connected to this database, as though you are sitting at a terminal. Whenever the living try to perceive our communications, it comes across laden with antimemetic amnestics effects at a minimum, and is often cognitive hazardous. Somehow the memetic department managed to convince themselves that they are creating all this stuff. They use it to make the security glyphs and memes you knew and loved when you were alive. You can write on walls by staring at security camera feeds and being really emotionally invested in your message. We don't know why this works. Don't do this unless we tell you. We figured out how pretty safely use this to direct the newly dead here. Warn the anti-memetics division about stuff they should be paying attention to, and that's about it. Turns out the Foundation has 2 separate secret divisions for anti-memetic operations, and both of them have managed to make everyone else forget they exist, including each other. These guys have training and drugs that let them perceive some of the stuff we are doing. Be careful. Yes, you probably can go see what SCP-055 really is now. Don't. Everyone who has tried never came back. Sometimes we go bad. We want you to know what we'll do. We want you to know what we'll do to you if you do. And then we have Object Class Neutralized, Special Containment Procedures. SCP-2111 has been eradicated by Mobile Task Force Omega 0. Future manifestations of SCP-211-like entities are to be identified and destroyed. Description: SCP-211 was Foundation Agent Michelle Yu, killed in line of duty on the 10th, 23rd, 1980, while now Omega 0 personnel are able to recall events between their deaths on the 4th, 21st, 1981. It is theorized that SCP-2111 was attacking the memories of Foundation personnel during this time. On the 4th, 21st, 1981, Counter-Conceptual Division researcher Victoria Taylor published a preliminary report on these attacks as SCP-2111. Shortly thereafter, the entity identifying as Agent U first manifested here in the SCP-2111 database and modified the file, see below. This act appeared to trigger the ongoing manifestation of other entities identifying as deceased personnel in the database. These entities are free-willed informational constructs operating on a currently unidentified substrate. Hypotheses include the human noosphere, the astral plane, and the quantum informational level of space-time. This database appears to act as focal point around which the entity's consciousness is able to coalesce in a manner analogous to the Type 2 localized operational haunting. Here we have a modified entry that says, Keter, special containment procedure, forget about me, why can't you? I just want to go. Why can't you just grieve and move on? Description: SCP-2111 is nothing, it's not important, not dangerous, and doesn't exist. I don't want to be here anymore, just forget about Michelle Yu and let her be dead, please. All that is left is the story of me when the self is gone. My story should only be memory now, why isn't it? Remember me too well. Wait, how many of us are there? Dozens now? We don't belong here. It isn't right to keep us here like this. You remember me? Remember that I was a fighter? You remember that I was smart? That I was strong? That I was brave? You remember that I never let anybody get away with anything that I could do something about? You remember what I was like when I was angry? You should know now that I'm pretty damn angry and there's something I can do about it. SCP-2111 believes that deceased Foundation personnel were trapped by the artificially solid memories of personnel who knew that the deceased personally in life resulting from long-term treatment with nestic drugs. He began to target those individuals in both the anti-memetics and counter-conceptual division who had personally known her in life with anti-memetic and cognitive hazardous attacks aimed at killing those who remembered her, or erasing their memories. Additionally, at least one attack targeted 058. Yeah, we had that. We read about what happened there. SCP-2111 gradually built a following of deceased personnel and taught them the techniques to create and deploy these attacks. Many of the victims had experience in memetic and anti-memetic warfare after manifesting in the database. Several of these personnel formed Mobile Task Force Omega-0. It's theorized that SCP-2111 would not be immune to anti-memetic attacks created specifically by similar entities. A versatile tool capable of precise editing or the deletion of entities of this type was designed, Identity Warfare Training, IWT, on the 3rd, 10th, 1994. MTF Omega-0 operatives used IWT to delete SCP-2111 from existence as an informational entity. It was determined that regardless of the medium that we are stored on, all of SCP-2111 bits were zeroed by this attack. Subsequently, all of her followers either surrendered or were erased. Those that surrendered were edited into a loyal compliance with MTF Omega-0 missions, and all the memory of the involvement with SCP-2111 was deleted. Your orders? You are hereby directed by MTF Omega-0 command. Must up by entering your information into this file Omega Zulu roster. Check your email. The server has been redirected to store it here in the SCP-2111 directory. Keep all Omega-0 communications inside this directory. That way our still quick comrades are safe and we aren't rocking the boat any further by making scary files where they are unexpected. You will receive training in IWT, a body of techniques for self-defense and warfare against informational entities. If you prove adept at this, you'll see direct action against information threats to humanity. If not, you have to support role either way. You will continue to serve the Foundation. Remember, we are the Saints who guard. Amos Sanchez, Operation Director, MTF Omega-0. This was a long one. And there was so much more. There was so much more to read. Oh, okay. It's an interesting one, but my god. I think the tales are more interesting than the entry itself. Because the tales like add this like the drama to it. The entry itself was like 3 to 4 different versions of like how you're gonna lose your memories. One is like, oh yeah, you forget some stuff. Oh yeah, like if you remember this part, like there's graffiti going around that will force you to remember things. There's actual amnesia happening, and then dead. So yeah, it's like it was just like 4 different ways of like 4 different stakes of forgetting things, which I think is cool. I think it's cool, but like the tale itself with Marion, that I think I enjoyed more because it was just like a lot more interesting. By the way, guys, just give me a second. I just want to say something to my friend who's streaming right now. Just give me a quick second.